As I prepare to leave the home we've lived in for 28 years, I've been reflecting on how places and possessions quietly hold the stories of our lives. In this episode, I share what it's like to sort through decades of memories, how difficult it can be to let go, and how we begin to decide what we carry with us into the next chapter. Hello and welcome back to A Gift for Grief. I'm so glad you're here today because I want you to know you are not alone in whatever season of grief you're walking through right now. Whether your loss is recent or whether it happened years ago, your grief matters. Today I want to talk about something that feels very personal for me right now. We are in the middle of moving house. We've lived here for 28 years, and so much of our son Matthew's life, his presence, his energy, his story, lives within these walls. And I've been packing boxes, opening drawers, sorting cupboards, and deciding what stays and what goes. I've realised just how much weight and meaning is held in belongings. So today I want to talk about what their belongings mean to us after they've gone, why it's so hard to let them go, and how we can honour both our grief and our growth in this process. A few months after Matthew died, we donated his cricket clothes and equipment to Warwick Cricket Club, where he started playing aged 8. His football boots went to a local football club, his bike to one of his cousins, and his golf clubs to one of his best friends. We had 2 memory bears and a cushion made from some of his clothes. Anything left over that no one wanted, we donated to a charity shop. Before loss, belongings are just belongings. A shirt, a book, a pair of shoes, a mug, his toothbrush. They're practical, replaceable, ordinary, everyday things. But after someone dies, those same objects become sacred. Suddenly, that hoodie isn't just fabric, it's the way it smells like them. That old phone, it's not outdated technology, it's their last messages, their voice recordings, their photos. That messy drawer, it's not clutter, it's evidence that they existed, that they lived, that they were here. Belongings become physical proof of love. When someone is gone, we can't hug them anymore, but we can hold their sweater. We can touch their handwriting. We can sit in their chair. We can open their books. Their things become substitutes for their presence, and there is nothing strange about that. Now, moving house is hard for anyone. It's one of the most stressful things you can do, but when you've lost someone, it's not just a move, it's another goodbye. When you pack up a home that's held your loved one's laughter, tears, arguments, celebrations, ordinary days, you're not just packing boxes, you're packing history. For me, this house holds 28 years of life. It holds our son and daughter's childhood, their teenage years, their dreams, their struggles, their growth. Every room tells a story, and it's hard when you've lost a child. It's hard when you lose any family member. And now I'm being asked to decide. Which pieces of that story do I take with me? Which pieces do I leave behind? Which ones am I ready to let go of, and which ones am I absolutely not? And let me tell you, it's emotional. It's exhausting. It can bring up waves of grief you thought you'd already worked through. You might think you're doing okay, and then you open a box, and suddenly you're not. That's normal. That's grief. Why it's hard to let go. I think we're afraid of forgetting. It's about fear. It's about love. It's about survival. Somewhere deep inside, many of us believe, if I let go of this, I'm letting go of them. If I donate this, I'll forget their voice. If I throw this away, they'll fade. So we hold on. Not because we're hoarders. We hold on because we're protectors of their memory. Our loved one is dead, and now we're being asked to lose pieces of them too. Each item we give away can feel like a tiny death, a tiny funeral, a tiny goodbye, and that adds up. Sometimes keeping their things is a way of saying, maybe this isn't fully real yet. If their shoes are still here, maybe they'll come back and wear them. It's our heart's way of buffering the truth. And the guilt. We might think, who am I to decide what happens to their things? Am I being disrespectful? Am I doing this wrong? Would they be upset? And that guilt can be heavy. Here's something important I've been learning. Their belongings are not important because of what they are. They're important because of what they represent. Your relationship, that shared life, the love you had between you, your history, that story together. That watch isn't just a timepiece. It holds a sentimental value. That notebook isn't just paper. It has their handwriting on it. That old jacket isn't just fabric. It smells like them. Their things carry emotional fingerprints, and when you touch them, you feel closer. That's not unhealthy. That's human. That's grief and love intertwined. You are allowed to keep what matters. There is no correct number of belongings you should keep, not one. You don't have to keep everything, or give everything away, or follow anyone else's timeline, or justify your choices. You are allowed to keep a box, keep a room, keep a shelf, keep a drawer, keep a suitcase, keep a few treasured items, or keep many, whatever feels right for you. You are not stuck because you keep things. And letting go can also be an act of love. Now, this might be hard to hear, but sometimes letting go is also love. Not forgetting, not abandoning, not replacing, but trusting. Trusting that their essence is not trapped in objects. Their spirit is not stored in boxes. Their love is not limited to possessions. They live in your heart, your memories, your values, your story, and the way you love others. Sometimes giving away their clothes to someone who needs them is allowing their life to keep blessing others. Sometimes donating their books is letting their wisdom travel. Sometimes releasing items is choosing to carry them differently. And you get to decide when or if that feels right. If you're in this season right now, like I am, here's something that might help. Instead of asking, what should I keep? Try asking, what feels meaningful right now? What feels comforting? What feels heavy? What feels ready? You can make 3 piles. Pile 1, keep close. Pile 2, store for later. And pile 3, release. Later is important because it gives you permission to not decide today. As I pack this house, as I touch my son's remaining things, I'm realising something. I'm not packing memories into boxes. They're already in me. I'm not losing him by moving. I'm carrying him with me into a new space, into a new chapter, into a new version of life. And you are too. Wherever you are listening from, whatever belongings you're holding on to, whatever you're struggling to release, I want you to know you're doing this with love. And you're doing this with courage. You're doing this with a heart that has known deep loss and deep devotion. There is no wrong way to carry someone you love. Sometimes it's in a box, sometimes it's in a story, sometimes it's in your tears, sometimes it's in your laughter. Sometimes it's in the quiet moments when you miss them, and that is enough. I know that when this house is finally packed up and empty, when the pictures are off the walls, when the kitchen cupboards are bare, when the echoes are all that's left, it will just be bricks and mortar again. It will be a building, 4 walls and a roof, a structure, and it will be ready for another family to walk through the door and begin their own story here. They'll bring in their furniture, their laughter, their arguments, their celebrations, their ordinary days. They'll make memories in the same rooms where we once did. They'll never know the depth of love that lived here before them. They won't know the tears that were cried here, the prayers whispered in the night, the milestones celebrated, and the heartbreak endured. And that's okay, because this house has done its job for us. For 28 years it held our family, my husband, our son and daughter. It sheltered our joys and our sorrows. It witnessed our growth and our struggles. Every corner holds a memory, and every room has a story. And even when the house is empty, it will never be empty of meaning for me. It will always be the place where our family life unfolded, where love was lived out day after day, where grief and grace walked side by side. It was the place where my son Matthew laughed, where he dreamed, where he rested, where he was safe, where he was loved beyond measure. And now, as hard as it is to let go, I can see that this home is ready to hold someone else's life, someone else's beginning, someone else's hopes, just as once it held ours. And I will carry what matters most with me, not in boxes, not in furniture, not in walls, but in my heart, because home was never just this house. Home was the love we shared inside it, and that love goes with me wherever I go. Thank you for being here with me today. Thank you for trusting me with your heart. If this episode resonated with you, I'd love for you to share it with someone who might need it. And remember, grief is not something to get over. It is love finding new ways to live. Until next time, take gentle care of yourself. Thank you for listening to this episode of A Gift for Grief. If you found it comforting, please consider subscribing to my podcast so you don't miss any future episodes. Please also leave a review because it helps others to find the show. Together we can help each other become more grief literate. To learn more about my personal journey and my 2 books on grief, visit www.louisebates.co.uk. The music on this podcast was written and recorded by my son Matthew Bates and can be found on his 2 albums, Fight Back and Kaleidoscope. And finally, if you're struggling with grief or concerned about your mental health, please reach out to your doctor. You don't have to go through this alone. Until next time, be gentle with yourself and thank you for listening.